I haven't wanted to do that late in the trustee training process, but yes, that's for sure.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, early birds. I always wait for the person who comes early, because there's always one person. But look at you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. I am Frankie Timmers, the spiritual director here, and welcome to all of you who are online, either today or sometime in the future. We're blessed to be together because something happens when we are together. We're really together, right? Something happens when we're in spiritual community with one another. And what I've noticed, obviously, is that many people are hungry for that connection, hungry for spiritual community, especially after the few years that we went through with the pandemic. So we are Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, and the theme for the year is Living Out Loud. And for March, it's Cultivating Authenticity, and today the topic is Enough is Enough. And what I'm exploring is how we can use the word enough in so many different ways, and how important it is that we have clarity around that. And then that we always bring it back to the truth principles, because that's what we do in Science of Mind, right? We're a metaphysical teaching, which means beyond the physical. We look beyond the physical for a deeper meaning, but also for how the truth principle is operating and how it can operate for us in a more powerful way. And then we talk about or explore this idea of what does it really mean to arrive in this process of knowing that we are enough, that we do enough, and we have enough. So let us remember that there's all kinds of events going on at our center, and you can see that on our website. Most importantly, in 2 weeks from today, we have, 3 weeks? We have Kat Roman doing, 2 weeks, Kat Roman doing the sound bath. So the best thing for you to do is to sign up on the Breeze link. It's on the flyer, but it's also in our weekly email, much easier. And if you reserve a seat, you are more assured to have a spot. If not, and there's an overflow, you get to just be in the home, which is probably lovely too. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, say hello, let us know that you're with us, connect with each other, and let's say hello to each other, those of you who are in person. The way we do that is through our Namaste practice. Namaste is the Sanskrit word for the divinity in me blesses the divinity in you. So remember, you're not just giving, you're also receiving, which sometimes is harder, right? Easier to give than to receive. So remember the receiving part, the balance. So put your hands together and just bow to somebody and say, Namaste. Namaste. And let's close our eyes. And move into what we always do, spiritual mind treatment, our word for affirmative prayer. So right here, right now, we arrive. We don't just settle into our seats, but we settle into our heart of hearts, our essential consciousness, the very truth of our being, the presence of love and grace and peace and harmony and joy, already within us, ever available. So today we move into this willingness to let go of whatever is in the way. Whether we're aware of it or not, we can always tune in to that feeling of something is off. And that's ever a celebration, because it is an invitation to remember, to rise up, to understand that who and what we are is already spirit in physical form. And so the wisdom and the joy and the love is already available within our own beings. That's worthy of celebration, because then we spread it far and wide and we become a healing presence in the world. I'm so grateful for this knowing, so grateful for this spiritual community, so grateful for everyone's willingness to show up and to live out loud. And so it is. So, I love these words, enough. They're words, that's a word I have worked with it for a long time. Because when I came into this teaching, I realized that my operative belief was not enough. Whether it was just plain not enough, or whether it was not smart enough, not pretty enough, not tall enough, not short enough, not whatever, right? Fill in the blank. And what I realized that is very much part of our human nature. It's probably something that we all carry until we take our last breath. But the beauty of that is not that that's a punishment. The beauty of that is that's a vehicle for us to open our minds and our hearts and our lives to the greater good. So it's not about judging any of it or saying, I gotta work really hard to get rid of it, but to really say, oh, what is that telling me? What is it teaching me, right? And so I have a curiosity, because there's several ways to say enough is enough, right? What's behind it when you say it? So, what are some of the ways that you say it? How do you hear it the most? Anyone?
Be done with it. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. What's the energy behind that? Negative, limited, frustration, anxiety, anger, a line in the sand, right? What if we say it in a different way and we say, enough is enough, yay! What is that saying? That's a higher vibration, right? What else?
There's always abundance.
There's always abundance.
Possibility.
Possibility, infinite possibility. So isn't it interesting that we can have a word and the way we say it with whatever intonation has a completely different meaning. So enough is enough can mean from a very limited place, from a frustrated place, or it can be from a place of, wow, that is so awesome. So I believe, and nobody has to agree with me, but I think many people do, that one of the metaphysical messages behind the COVID pandemic was this idea of enough is enough. Because we were in this state of mind, this state of consciousness, especially in our culture, where we always wanted more. More money, more work, more time, more cars, more houses, more clothes, more jewelry, more. And what that says is, I don't have enough. And a lot of that is not conscious, right? It's also the collective consciousness that presses in on us. And then all of a sudden, there was this event that stopped everything, slowed it down. We realized that consumerism will never fill us up the way we thought it does. It made us reflect on what's really important, what really matters. And many people arrived at the place of being grateful for what they do have, instead of feel lacking for what they don't or don't yet have. In our teaching, we go even beyond that. So what's beyond this idea of I need more, which says I don't have enough, what's behind that is a belief that I don't feel I am enough. And it gets hidden. And it gets hidden, it becomes a mask, and then we think, if only I have this or that, if only I were in a relationship or out of one, if only I had a different job. And the whole idea of that is to realize that that is a demonstration of a lack consciousness. If I feel I don't have enough, whatever that may be, what it's saying is, I don't feel that I am enough. And that's a belief in lack. And where do we go with that in our teaching? We go to principle. We go to the truth idea behind it. And what's the truth idea behind it? Is that you are enough, you have enough, you do enough. That belief then becomes a magnet and brings experiences in our lives that completely shift. I watched a very short interview with Jim Carrey. Everybody knows Jim Carrey, right? I haven't seen him. I haven't seen any movies. In the interview, he was asked why he's not doing movies anymore. And he says, because I have enough. What a simple answer. It made me go, I have enough. And then he says, and I've done enough. I've done enough. And then he said, I am enough. I am enough. I know that he's on a spiritual journey because I've heard that. And so the idea then is, how can we arrive at that feeling? How can we arrive at that feeling of, I have enough time? That was my big one. I was always saying, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. And guess what happened? I didn't have enough time. I told myself often enough, and then I started saying time is my servant. I always have enough time, and it shifted completely. And I rarely use that language anymore. And so we begin to notice and say, oh, how can I arrive at the opposite? So I want you to think for a moment whether you have a language or a belief system about not having enough. So I want you to shout it out loud. I don't have enough money. Huh? I can't hear you.
I have enough.
No, we're going to the next. Look at your life and notice where you are complaining, silently maybe, not to anyone else because you might be a little ashamed about it, but what operates in the not? I don't have enough energy, time, connections, memory, education, experience.
I don't have enough interest in the things that interested me before.
Yeah, I don't have enough interest in the things that interest me before. It's very important to become aware of where we say I don't have enough. Because once we acknowledge it, we have something to work with. You know, so we begin to notice where we complain, where we worry, where we feel anxious, where we feel ashamed, where we feel judged, where we judge, where we are criticized. Those are areas that are masking a belief in not having enough. The same happens with not being enough. I remember clearly early in minister that I believed I wasn't a good enough speaker, I wasn't a good enough minister, I wasn't a good enough leader, I wasn't a good enough friend, and it made me feel sick. Well, it made me sick if I look at the experience of cancer, because that's a very cancerous belief, right? So we want to notice because it gives us something to work with. And the way we work with that is we affirm the opposite truth principle. So those of you that did a shout out, what you shouted out was a principle that is truth that you have not yet embraced, that you have not yet accepted. It's something about ourselves that's a bit hidden, that is wanting to make itself known so we can declare the truth of it so much and so long until it shifts, just like I did with time. So some of you might say, oh, I have enough memory, I have enough interest, I have enough education, I have enough love, I have enough wisdom, I have enough joy, I have enough time, right? Because we're all so different. But the different topics don't say as much as the saying of not enough or enough itself. Because it either hides the truth principle or we're living that truth principle. I have a Christmas card that I've had for 20 years because I can't part with it. I love it so much. And it has a little girl with a little hat on, and she's standing in the snow. And the saying is, enough is as good as a feast. Enough is as good as a feast. I love that sentence. And it's spoken by Sir Thomas Malory, who was a 15th century British, I guess he was an author, he was a sir. But then when I started looking at that again recently, I found out that it's attributed to him, but it was really said by 5th century before Christ philosopher Euripides. Who knew? It's that old. Good enough. Enough is as good as a feast. Say it again. Enough is as good as a feast. So, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and just repeat after me quietly in your own heart. I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. And now notice what's in the way. Because sometimes when we say, I am enough, there's this little voice that says, yeah, right. What about this or that? So now listen for that and notice, just notice it. I am enough. But accept. I have enough. Except for. I do enough. Except for. Now open your eyes. That is so freaking juicy. Because to notice what comes after when you really listen inside is so rich, because it's hiding your true nature, your true blessedness, your true gifts, your true wisdom. Some of you might have a long list, and some of you might have nothing. When you have a long list, you've got something to work with. When you have nothing, keep practicing it, because there's always something there, right? It can be very subtle. And so that core belief of I'm not enough, or I'm not blank enough, I'm not good enough, not smart enough, not young enough, not all those, they really are hiding things that don't serve us. So if you say, I'm not smart enough, you're going to be judging people that are smarter than you, and you think are smarter than you, and you're going to compare. Anybody here ever compare yourself with somebody else? Right? That is so rich, but it's also very, very harmful. It hides your authentic self, because you're incomparable. Nobody could ever possibly be like you, because you're a unique, individualized expression of the one. And so maybe there is something else where you criticize other people. I remember a time where I would listen to somebody who's a really good speaker early on in my ministry, and then I would criticize them. It's so weird, right? Instead of learn from them and grow from them and praise them and bless them, right? And so we want to pay attention to our judgments and our criticisms, because they also hide our essential nature. They hide the truth of who we are and the truth of who somebody else is, because it's just our perception, our assumption, our awareness. So the invitation today in this cultivating authenticity is to look at what kind of masks we wear, the masks that we hide behind, and how those masks are usually limiting ways of seeing ourselves and each other. They are usually beliefs that there isn't enough, that we don't have enough, we don't do enough, we aren't enough. I love the Science of Life magazine this month. I love it every month, but because it has some quotes in there by one of my favorite authors. I used to read her books so much that I had to replace them because they'd be so beat up. And it's Anais Nin, the author, the poet. She says, life is a process of becoming, a combination of states we have to go through. Where people fail is that they wish to elect a state and remain in it. This is a kind of death. Life is a process of becoming, a combination of states we have to go through. Where people fail is that they wish to elect a state and remain in it. This is a kind of death. And so the part of us that doesn't think or believe we have enough, we do enough, we are enough, is the part of us that's a little stuck. And when we're stuck, we feel dead inside. And so the idea is to remember that all of this is a lifelong process. And the process itself is a blessing, is a gift, because as they say in 12-step programs, it's about progress, not perfection. Oh, perfectionism, that's another great mask to hide behind, right? So in that process, or the way that process works is we keep turning to the truth principle, and we keep turning away from the limiting ideas or beliefs. We want to be careful what we call them, because sometimes we call them things that are harmful to ourselves. Like I usually don't use the word negative, or wrong, or bad. I simply think about the language because I know I'm in a process. And acknowledging it as part of my awakening process, it can be more of a gift. Because if we call it something limited or negative or bad or whatever, then we keep pushing it away. And we can't push it away because it's there. So it's the idea of being willing to look at it, embracing it, and using it for our good. So we turn to the divine principle, the truth principle, which is you are enough, period. Not you are enough when you fill in the blank. You are enough now. Then you notice what's in the way. Yeah, but you have enough. You have enough. We live in a culture where we have enough. And so we look at the belief where I say, yeah, but not. Then you do enough. You do enough. I've been realizing lately that there's a lot of demands on us. We're being asked to do more, to give more, to serve more. And so it's really important to know where we feel it's enough, where we are enough. And to honor that, and to communicate that. So we work with this idea that in the principle, it is, we are enough, we have enough, and we do enough. And once we accept that, as a new belief or a more expanded belief, that's when the floodgates open to our greater good. It has to. Because we say in our teaching, our consciousness creates our reality. So that stand, that foundation, creates a different experience. Because if we're looking at the outside for information, we are going to miss the mark. When we look inside for truth information, we heal. Does that make sense? So the simplicity then is that we're here just to remember that simple wisdom. That simple wisdom that you already know. I don't tell you anything new. You already know that you know. You already know what you're thinking. You already know what you believe. We came to acknowledge that and celebrate that. And that when you notice that you're out of principle, as we say, that you've turned away from the truth principle that is ever available, we can turn back and remember the truth. I love what Brene Brown says in the Science Mind magazine, where she says, to embrace and love who we are, we have to reclaim and reconnect with the parts of ourselves we've orphaned over the years. Right? To embrace and to love who we are, we have to reclaim and reconnect with the parts of ourselves we've orphaned over the years. It's just noticing what we've lost, what we've let go of, what we've given away, what we haven't celebrated in us, what we haven't had compassion for, and we were stuck in the limitations. So, I want to close with a poem, but the person who's going to read it just walked out with a little cough. Are you ready? Are you going to do it?
Sure.
Okay, so Bashi and I are going to read a poem, and Bashi is going to do it in Spanish. And then I will do the English translation. So nice and slow. Come on up.
Yo no soy yo, soy este que va a mi lado sin verlo,
You got to speak up.
que a veces voy a ver y que a veces olvido. El que cae sereno cuando hablo, el que perdona dolce cuando odio, el que pasea por donde no estoy, el que perdera en pie cuando yo muera.
Yes, thank you. So in English, this is by Juan Ramon Jimenez, who was a Spanish poet in the 50s, 40s, 50s. He passed the end of the 50s, and he passed away in Puerto Rico. It goes like this: I'm not I am this. The one who walks beside me without my seeing, who sometimes I go to see, and whom sometimes forget. The one who's serene while I talk. The one who pardons sweetly when I hate. The one who goes for a walk somewhere where I'm not present. And the one who will remain standing on feet when I pass away. I forgot I was going to help you read that. So I want you to close your eyes because I'm going to play a song for you that is an invitation. So allow yourself to feel the invitation because it will be different for all of us. So close your eyes, take a nice slow deep breath. And take in the words.
be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will not go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a baby child. And I will not go as fast as those slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Now I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
So my hope, my trust is that when you walk out these doors today, that you have a different experience with the word enough. You have a deeper awareness that no matter what, because it's the truth of your your divine self, your divine reality, that you feel more that you're enough, that you have enough, and that you do enough. These are like seeds that are now planted in your consciousness. And holding that allows the law to fulfill them, to bring them to bloom. In just a few weeks we start with spring. So it's a perfect time to kind of use that metaphor of planting seeds of truth and nurturing them so that they grow into fruition. So I want to let you know that on April 23rd, I know it seems really far away, but on April 23rd, we have our annual membership meeting. And all members and friends are invited to attend. We will have a regular morning celebration and then a social hour, and then we start our meeting. It's about an hour and a half. We'd love for you to come. And part of that is for you to celebrate our beautiful leadership and practitioners, but also to really ask yourself, is it time for me to serve in a leadership role? We need you. Without you, we can't continue. We need a leadership council. So some of you are already saying yes and interested, so there's a nominating process. Some of you are praying on it and thinking about it. It's an amazing team that we're working with, and it's about cultivating a healthy, happy future for our spiritual community. So consider serving. If you have questions, we have Fernando here, who's our treasurer. I'm on the leadership council as well. And then we have Franny and Kathy that are not here today, but they're happy to answer any questions for you. All right?
And
So, Michael, oh geez, yes, elect Michael. We have our meeting tomorrow night, so I'm always excited to be together. We've been meeting on Zoom, which is really, really wonderful. So let's close now with the healing treatment, and then I have another song for us. Oh yeah, offertory. If any of you would like to support our spiritual community, there's a basket in the back. If you're here for the first time, you get to grab a free book off the shelf and to be on our mailing list if you wish. You can sign up here. And you can go online. There's a sheet back there, all the different ways that you can give. And if financial support is not available to you, we have some really interesting volunteer spaces and activities for you, so let us know. Thank you, Lori. All right, let's treat. Let's move into this healing moment as we do a healing spiritual mind treatment and allow them to feed the seeds that we have planted in consciousness today. So right here, right now, as we take a breath, as I take a breath, I arrive at this place of the I am, which is our true name. Each of us has a true name. That name is I am. And so I speak from and to that I am, from the I am in me to the I am in each and every one of us, to declare this healing moment, this healing activity. I know that there is a power and a presence in the universe that is everywhere present in everyone, everything, everywhere, regardless of my opinion. It is all there is, always has been, always will be. It is that utter predictability that we know when the sun rises and sets every day. That utter predictability of spring coming after winter and not after fall. That utter predictability that when I turn on my faucet, water comes out. How blessed I am to know this, to believe in this solid foundation upon which I stand, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually and emotionally. So today, I remember that solid foundation, and I use it to move around in the world. I use it to shed whatever is in the way. I use it to awaken to my essential beingness, to that essential vibration that is my breath, that is my heartbeat, and that is the truth for every other creature on the planet. And so I lend my unique experience of this one presence to the world to make it a better place. I lend it to give hope. I lend it to serve. I lend it to bring joy. I lend it to bring hope. I lend it in every way that I can imagine. And at any time something gets in the way, I bless it. I bow to it. Maybe I say namaste to it. And I use it for my good, for my growth, for my evolution. And so for this, I am so deeply grateful, because the awareness of how the universe works by means of its creation is the greatest gift and blessing in my life. And so it is.
And so it is.
There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth, whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design.